Has it ever happened to you that, for no clear reason, your mood just drops? You're surrounded by people, there's noise, laughter, lights, everything seems normal. But inside you, something strange appears, like a shadow sneaking in without permission. Other times, nothing even needs to happen. It's enough just to walk into a place and you feel it. A heavy atmosphere, a feeling that's hard to explain, like something is slowly draining your energy. And no, it's not your imagination. It's not a coincidence either. What you're sensing is negative energy. It's the presence, invisible but very real, of heavy vibrations that we've all felt at some point, even if we don't always know what to call it. Because the world is not just matter. It's not just what we see and touch. The body, the objects, the walls around you, all of that is just the visible layer of something much bigger. An invisible ocean where everything vibrates, mixes, and constantly transforms. Just as air carries smells and sounds, it also carries emotions, thoughts, moods, and every human emotion, every intense thought, leaves a kind of trace in that subtle field we share. That's why, when you enter a place filled with fear, sadness, or anger, your body senses it before your mind understands it. Your energy system registers it first, and then your mind tries to catch up. But here's something that almost no one remembers. Negative energy can touch you, but it doesn't have to stay with you. You can feel it, acknowledge it, and then let it go. Even with something as simple as a minute of mindful breathing and a little visualization. No complicated rituals, no sitting for 3 hours staring at a candle, although some people do enjoy that, of course. Sometimes it's enough to remember something very basic. Inside you, there's a light stronger than any shadow. And that's exactly what this video is about. First, let's understand what negative energy really is, and how different traditions have explained it throughout history. Afterwards, we'll look at specific techniques that, in just 60 seconds, can help you cleanse your energy field and regain clarity. And at the end, I'll share some simple habits so that this isn't just something you do when everything falls apart, but a daily practice of protection and renewal. Now imagine this. Every day your body gets covered with invisible dust. You don't see it, but it builds up day after day. Now think about something. What would happen if you never took a shower? Exactly. The same thing happens on the energetic level. If you never clean your inner field, dense energy starts to build up. Until your vitality gets blocked, your mood drops, and your clarity disappears. Freeing yourself from that burden is not a spiritual luxury. It's as basic as breathing, like drinking water, like watching what you eat. That's why this practice is not just about well-being. It's something deeper. It's an act of spiritual sovereignty. It's about reclaiming your space, your energy, your right to vibrate in peace. And the most interesting thing is this: the power is not outside. It's here, now, within you. You don't need to wait for an enlightened master, nor a secret ceremony on top of a mountain, not even a sacred place. You are the temple, and your breath is the key. So get ready, because what you're about to discover here isn't just a technique to relax in a minute. It's a way to activate your energy shield, to ignite your inner light, and to transform any moment of darkness into an opportunity to awaken. And by the way, the idea of negative energy isn't an internet trend, nor is it a superstition invented just a couple of days ago. Throughout history, different cultures have spoken about it, each one with its own symbols, myths, and practices to neutralize it. The curious thing is that even though they used different words, they all agreed on something fundamental. Human beings do not live only in a material world. We live within an ocean of invisible forces that influence our health, our mood, and even our destiny. In ancient India, for example, the Vedic texts spoke of prana, the vital energy that flows through all living beings. When prana flows freely, there is balance. But when it is blocked or contaminated, discomfort, sadness, and illness appear. For the Vedic sages, it was clear. Negative energy arose from dark thoughts, unresolved emotions, or external influences. The solution? Mantras, conscious breathing, and meditation to restore the vital flow. In China, the Taoists explained it in different terms. For them, life is the result of the balance between yin and yang, two complementary forces. When that balance is broken, disharmony appears, and that disharmony is perceived as a heavy, dense, harmful energy. That's why they developed practices like Qigong or acupuncture, whose goal was simple: to restore the flow of qi and expel anything that disturbed the natural order. In ancient Egypt, they also spoke of dark influences. They believed that certain energies could stick to a person's aura like sticky shadows. The priests of the time performed purification rituals with water, fire, and incense. For them, negative energy was something like an energy parasite that fed on spiritual weakness. Even the Judeo-Christian tradition recognized this idea, although under different names. The evil spirit, temptation, the curse. They didn't always talk about external forces or invisible entities. Many times the problem was something more subtle, a field of thoughts and emotions that begins to contaminate consciousness. That's why, in many traditions, practices like prayer, confession, or blessing weren't just religious rituals. They were, in essence, methods to cleanse the inner self, a kind of spiritual hygiene. Among indigenous peoples of the Americas, the idea appeared under another name. They spoke of the evil wind or the bad air. When someone was burdened with dense energy, the shamans would say that a dark wind had entered their body. To expel it, they performed chants, dances, and rituals with sacred plants like tobacco or sage. And even though from the outside it might seem like folklore or superstition, in reality it was something much deeper. It was a way to remember that energy moves with intention, that discomfort is not a lasting punishment, and that it can dissolve with surprising speed. When the person, the community, and the spirit work in the same direction, if you look at all these traditions from a philosophical perspective, there's an idea that comes up again and again. Negative energy is not an invincible enemy, it's a passing density, not an eternal condemnation. It's a temporary state that can be transformed. It's like a shadow. It may seem enormous, but all it takes is to turn on the light for it to disappear. That's why, when you study these traditions calmly, you discover something interesting. The key was never to run away from negative energy. The key was always to remember the inner power to transmute it, and that's the message that has traveled through centuries to reach us. What drains you today can become your drive tomorrow. What oppresses you today can be released. What seems like darkness is often the beginning of an awakening. Now, negative energy acts like invisible smoke. You can't see it, but it leaves a trace on everything it touches. It doesn't have a physical form, but it shows up in your body as inexplicable tiredness. In your mind, it appears as thoughts that go around and around, and in your heart as a weight that's hard to describe. The curious thing is that many times it doesn't even come from outside. We are the ones who generate it ourselves. Every time we feed fear, every time we relive anger, every time we hold on to a sadness without allowing it to be released. Imagine for a moment that your mind is a river. When it flows freely, the water is clear, fresh, and alive. But if you start throwing garbage in, resentments, endless worries, dark thoughts, the river starts to stagnate. The water becomes murky. That's exactly what negative energy is, an inner river that's blocked, a flow that no longer refreshes or nourishes. And the same thing that happens with stagnant water starts to happen with our emotions. When they get trapped for too long, they end up poisoning our entire energy field. The good news is that this density isn't permanent. It's not a curse stuck to you forever. It's more like a layer of dust on a mirror. The reflection is still there. It's just covered. And just a small act of cleansing is enough for the light to appear again. Negative energy only has real power when you ignore it, or when you start to believe that shadow is you. But the moment you observe it clearly and understand that it's just a passing cloud, you've already taken the first step to dissolve it. And this is where the secret to freeing yourself in 1 minute comes in. Most spiritual traditions agree on something very specific. The key to clearing energy is to activate two things at the same time: conscious breathing and clear intention. Because breathing is not just a biological act. It is a bridge between the physical and the spiritual. Each inhalation is like drinking a bit of light. Each exhalation is like expelling the accumulated smoke. The first exercise is so simple that many underestimate it, but its effect can be surprisingly profound. Close your eyes. Bring your attention to the center of your chest. Breathe deeply. As you inhale, imagine a golden light entering your body, a warm light that expands like a purifying fire. As you exhale, visualize all the dark density leaving you, like smoke that dissolves into the air, like ash carried away by the wind, and you'll start to notice something. Your shoulders loosen up. The mind becomes clearer. The heart starts to beat more calmly. This happens because negative energy cannot withstand the light of mindful awareness for long. It's like entering a completely dark room with a candle. The darkness seems enormous, dense, almost solid. But as soon as you light the flame, it disappears. Conscious breathing and visualization are essentially that candle you always carry with you. It's always there. The problem is that we almost never remember to light it. But there's another key element in all of this: the body. Because when the mind gets caught up in negative thoughts, and believe me, it loves to do that, the fastest way to get out of that loop isn't to think more. It's to return to the body. Do something simple. Rub your palms together firmly, harder, until you feel warmth. Now place them over your face or over the center of your chest. That warmth you're feeling isn't just friction. It's your life force waking up. It's your system reminding you of something very basic. You are here. You are alive. And this moment is real. That small gesture breaks the mental cycle of negativity, because when you return to the body, you return to the present. And in the present, most of the shadows lose their power. The fascinating thing about these practices is their simplicity. You don't need hidden temples in the mountains. You don't need expensive amulets. You don't need endless rituals. The temple is within you, and the power is activated every time you breathe with intention, every time you decide to let go. A single minute of conscious attention can abruptly cut off the spiral of density, enough to remember something fundamental. You are much greater than any shadow that passes through your mind. In this first part, we have already discovered something essential. Negative energy exists. Yes, we all feel it at some point. But it's not a condemnation or a permanent presence. It's just a temporary visitor. And you always have the key to show it the way out. That key is called awareness. And the door is your breath. Now then, up to this point, we've seen that a simple minute of attention can change a lot. Breathing, focus, presence, and the density starts to dissolve. But the phenomenon is a bit more complex than it seems. There are important nuances. And in those nuances lies the true art of transforming energy. One of the most interesting ones is this: negative energy is not always the enemy. Although we usually treat it as something to be avoided at all costs, it often acts as a teacher in disguise. Yes, disguised. And quite persistent, by the way. The discomfort, the uneasiness, the tension in the body. All of those are signs, indicators that something inside you is out of balance. If you ignore them, they get heavier. If you listen to them, they become compasses. They show you exactly where there is something that needs to be transformed. From this perspective, negativity stops being a punishment. It becomes a message that points to the exact place where consciousness needs to enter. Another important point is something that almost no one notices. Sometimes we carry energies that aren't even ours. We enter a room full of tension and leave feeling strange. We talk to someone who's angry, and suddenly that anger seems to rub off on us. Without realizing it, we absorb other people's vibes as if they were our own. This is where the paradox comes in. We spend hours trying to work through a burden that was never really ours. That's why, when you release negative energy, you're not just cleansing your own field. You're also returning to the universe what you were never meant to carry. And that's not aggressive. It's not rejection. It's simply energetic order. Each person is responsible for what they emit. There's also something else worth clarifying. There is a kind of spiritual self-deception that is quite common. Some people believe that freeing themselves from negativity means eliminating it forever. To live in absolute, permanent, uninterrupted peace. It sounds nice, but it's not realistic. Life is movement, and where there is movement, there are contrasts. There will always be moments of clarity and moments of density. The true power is not in pretending that darkness will never appear. The true power is in recognizing it quickly and knowing how to dissolve it when it appears. It's exactly like physical hygiene. You don't stop getting dirty. You just learn to clean yourself every day. There's another fascinating nuance in all of this: imagination. A lot of people think that visualization is just a mental game, something similar to fantasizing. But on the energetic level, imagination is a language. When you imagine light entering your body, when you visualize the shadows leaving as you exhale, you're not playing. You're speaking directly to your energy field. It's the language it understands, and the body responds. What the mind imagines with enough intensity, the energy system begins to translate it into real experience. And finally, there is a dimension that we almost always forget. Energy is not just individual. It is also collective. It accumulates in groups, in cities, in entire societies. We live immersed in collective fields of fear, of rage, of anxiety, of sadness. That's why learning to free yourself on a personal level doesn't just help you. It also cleanses the collective field a little. Each mindful breath is, in a way, a small act of invisible service. Every time you release your shadow, the world becomes a little lighter. So, in the end, negative energy is not an enemy that needs to be destroyed. It's a current that needs to be understood, and when you understand it, you can transform it. The real secret isn't to escape from negative energy. It's to remember something much more powerful. At any moment, you can turn on your own light. And the funny thing is, you don't need a big fire. Sometimes a spark is enough, because even the smallest spark always breaks the darkness. Knowing that you can free yourself from negative energy in just 1 minute is incredibly empowering. But the real art is not just in dispelling the shadow when it appears. The real art is to live in a way that prevents that shadow from building up. Think of it this way. Don't wait until you're completely dehydrated to drink water. You do it beforehand. you do it naturally. It should be the same with your energy. Don't wait until you feel heavy, drained, or overwhelmed to start taking care of it. There are simple practices you can integrate into your daily life to keep your field light, your mind clear, and your presence strong. The first is mindful breathing. Every morning, before you start your day, take a minute. Just one. Breathe with intention. As you inhale, imagine a golden light entering your chest and spreading throughout your entire body. As you exhale, imagine any heaviness leaving you and dissolving like smoke in the air. It's a brief gesture, but a powerful one, because it sets the energetic tone with which you start your day. Make breathing your first spiritual nourishment of the day. But before I share the second practice, I'll tell you something uncomfortable. Many of the mental blocks you carry don't come from a lack of intelligence. They come from a lack of mental nourishment. Your mind is trying to grow with random Instagram quotes. That's why you feel stuck sometimes. Now imagine this: walking, working out, traveling, driving, and all the while absorbing ideas from the brightest minds in the world without reading, effortlessly, just by listening. That's why I left you a 30-day free trial of Audible in the description. Yes, full audiobooks. Books that can change your mindset while you go about your normal life. If you really want to feed your mind with something more powerful than noise, go to the link in the description and try it for free. Your mind will notice it, and fast. The second practice is something that almost no one considers: daily energy hygiene. You take a shower to clean your physical body. That is clear to us. But your energy field also accumulates residue. That's why it's useful to have small cleansing rituals. It can be something as simple as shaking your arms and legs when you get home, as if you were brushing off invisible dust, or taking a shower while visualizing the water washing away any energy that doesn't belong to you. Even lighting a white candle or some incense can work as a symbolic reminder that you are cleansing your inner space and your surroundings too. The third practice has to do with something very important: the invisible boundaries. Not all the negative energy you feel is yours. Sometimes you're just absorbing what others are giving off. That's why, before you leave home, try something very simple. Visualize yourself surrounded by a sphere of light, a translucent field that allows love to enter, but it blocks dense energy. It may seem simple, even too simple. But imagination, when used intentionally, strengthens your energy field more than you can imagine. The fourth practice is returning to the body. Movement sets you free. When you feel that something heavy has stayed with you, move. Walk barefoot on the earth for a few minutes. Shake your body like animals do when they release tension. Or just put on a song and dance without thinking too much. It doesn't have to look good. No one is judging. The important thing is for the energy to flow again. Remember, the body is the temple where energy moves. And when you activate it, many shadows simply dissolve. The fifth practice has to do with something we use all day without realizing it: words. To speak is to vibrate. If you constantly repeat phrases like, "I'm exhausted," "Everything goes wrong for me," "I can't take it anymore," you are feeding the heaviness. Your energy field hears every word. Replace them with affirmations that raise your vibration. I am learning. Energy flows within me. Today I feel light. It's not magic, but almost. Each affirmation is an instruction for your energy system. The sixth practice is to reconnect with nature. Earth, water, fire, and air are the great purifiers. Walking among trees, feeling the sun on your skin, listening to the sound of water, even holding a stone in your hands for a few minutes. Nature has something that we constantly forget. It knows how to regenerate, and when you come into contact with it, your system remembers that it can do it too. Throughout this journey, we've gone through many ideas, from understanding what negativity really is, to discovering simple and profound ways to release it in just a minute. What once seemed like a mystery reserved for mystics or ancient sages is actually within reach of anyone who is willing to look within. The central teaching is simple. Darkness never had power of its own. It was always the absence of light. And the light has always been within you. All that feeling of heaviness, of density, of blockage, it dissolves when you remember very basic tools. Breathing with awareness. Visualize. Move your body and use words that raise your vibration. Negative energy is not an invincible enemy. It's more like an illusion that breaks when your presence becomes clear. Now think about something for a moment. How many times have you let a repetitive thought ruin your day? How many times have you carried emotions that weren't even yours? How many hours have you given away to shadows that didn't deserve your attention? Now you know something different. You don't need hours to change your state. 1 minute can be enough. It may not seem like much. A single moment of awareness can shift your energy's direction and change the distance. It can get your day back on track. It can remind you of something essential. You are in charge of your vibration. However, if you've made it to this exact point in the video, I have to say it clearly. You are already in the small percentage that actually listens until the end of an uncomfortable idea. Most people want quick solutions, but very few have the patience to understand the process. So let's do something different. Write in the comments, I don't carry other people's shadows. I want to see how many of you are really ready to stop absorbing everyone else's energy like emotional sponges. If you write it down, I'll know you're one of those who not only listens but also applies it. This isn't just a technique. It's an invitation to reclaim your spiritual sovereignty. You are not a victim of your environment. You are not a victim of people. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are a beacon. And a beacon doesn't stop shining just because there's a storm. When you choose to ignite your inner light, you don't just transform yourself, you also illuminate those around you. Your conscious breathing can become medicine for others. Your calmness can be a refuge. Your elevated energy can quietly balance the space you inhabit. Life will keep bringing challenges. There will be heavy places. There will be burdened people. There will be tough moments. That's part of the game. What you can always choose is how to respond. And that choice is freedom. To choose whether you give your energy to the shadow or if you reclaim it for yourself. Every minute you choose to disconnect from negativity is a small act of resistance. A reminder that you didn't come into this world to drag chains. You came to spread your wings. So next time you feel the weight of negative energy, don't panic. Breathe. Visualize, move, speak with intention. Remember, the minute you set aside for yourself can become a portal to a lighter day, a calmer heart, and a freer spirit. Because in the end, it all comes down to a very simple question. Not whether there is darkness in the world, but whether you are willing to ignite your own light. Every time life asks you to,